Hey everybody, welcome to the live stream. Hope you're all doing good today. We are rapidly approaching the holidays. Somebody just mentioned, I think there's 11 days till Christmas. Is that right? 11? Yeah. I mean, technically, really more like when you're talking like getting gifts, it's like 9 or 10 days away. So we're getting close, but we're going to be doing some Christmas ornaments today using some new molds that I got from Danner Builds. They had their Black Friday sale and I jumped all over it. So it's going to be pretty fun. Let's show you guys what we are working with today. These things are so cool. So they're like three-dimensional. Yeah, there's like different layers. And these are really fun because I've never done this before, but you can basically just paint on mica powder. And it's like a coloring book and resin casting all mixed in one. So we got a Santa skull. I just thought that was so much fun. And then I got a snow globe. I should have got more of these. Now that I'm super excited about these. So we're going to be having a little bit of fun with this. And then Philip actually tossed in an extra one. We got a skull jar. That's kind of neat looking. So we'll play with that. And he also they always throw in some little trinket thing that they've made. So this one's kind of like a little Santa guy, a little Santa gnome looking kind of thing. So that's fun. You can make a keychain, just drill a hole or do something with it. So anyway, we'll set that guy aside for now, but we're going to be working with these things today. Should be pretty fun. And I have a few different types of paintbrush type applicators. I've gotten these, I think, I want to say that I got these from Glitter Hippo, actually. And then I bought these ones just on Amazon. Should have got links to these, but I mean, really, it doesn't really matter. They're just disposable brushes. I would recommend do not use something like an acid brush because they're really not paint brushes. They're just meant for, or like they call them chip brushes sometimes, these like super janky, like super cheap ones. The bristles come out. They're not meant for like painting and stuff. So don't use that. Use that for other stuff. But these little kind of disposable artist brushes should work pretty good. I got one that's kind of a pretty small tip. And I thought we could maybe get into these stars with that one. I think it's going to be practically impossible to get these like snowflakes without getting the stuff all over the place. So we can maybe get in and get these little stars. But you know, you can get into little crevices and do whatever you want with this small one. For larger areas, this should work. And you could use like, you know, nice, if you have like nice like artist brushes, let's just call them like non-disposable. They don't have to be super expensive. I do have some. I'd like to see if these disposables will work, and I think they will. But you can even buy, like at the craft store or on Amazon, things like, there's like sets like these. You know, it's just little craft brushes. These work really well. I don't know that there's really a whole lot of difference between that. Not too much. I think you'd have less of the bristles maybe coming out, but I mean, you can look at the build quality. Pretty much the same type of thing. So we're just going to go with the disposable guys because I think they're going to work fine. But I thought we'd try a couple different things out. The one that I got from Glitter Hippo is it's more of like a makeup brush. It's not really bristles. So I thought, let's try that. And like this is the same kind of thing. The only problem with these things, these are super cheap and they're disposable, but they like come out pretty easily. So I pretty much gave up using these to like paint on like epoxies and stuff. That's why I bought them. But the thing would come out on some of them. So it's just, that's kind of ridiculous. Much better this one. But anyway, I hope you guys are excited. I am super excited to play with these things. I think it's going to be super fun. There's like lots of different things you can do with these. I actually watched I found a couple other videos on YouTube of people doing these like three-dimensional Danner Builds, specifically Danner Builds molds. And I was just like engrossed by these things. You're just literally painting on stuff. They have a ton of molds at dannerbuilds.com. So there's, you know, obviously we're kind of going on like kind of a Christmas theme right now, but here's a link to, and I have a link down in the description as well, but there's a link to all the 3-dimensional type of molds where they're like these types of things. But they have like, I mean, I don't know how many, like hundreds or something like that, tens of tens, for sure. They got lots of cool different things that you can make, all kinds of different themes. Like there's a lot of like underwater type things, like little sea creatures and things. And I don't know, you can just have a field day over there. I'm just looking, there's like an anchor kraken thing and a timber wolf, lots of skull things, butterflies, seahorses, and all kinds of different things. Dragonfly, did I say that? Where's the other one? Where's that one? I think we're actually missing some. I don't think that's all of them. Hold on a minute. Yeah, I think I'm missing a lot of them, actually. So let's just go to the silicone molds. I'm just going to give you guys another link, because they have even other ones that you could do this type of thing where you're kind of painting on different parts of it and all that stuff. Yeah, so in Philip, it's actually the Danner family working on. They both work on this stuff, but Philip is a patron, and he's. I'm actually kind of surprised he's not here. I didn't really. Probably should have been like, hey Philip, we're doing these today. So he might drop in, eventually. But I don't think there's a whole lot of like instruction that needs to happen with these. It's pretty simple from what I saw from talking to him and from watching a couple of videos of people doing it. It's pretty simple stuff, not a lot going on. But he's also got other things like coaster molds and different, like I actually have I got a couple things from them that eventually I want to do. I just haven't really found a specific use for this, but this is like a magnifying lens type of thing, where like it would actually sit where it's like a half dome and you can use it like a magnifier. I haven't come up with a brilliant idea of how to use this yet, but we're going to do that one of these days. Sphere molds, I think they got pyramids and all kinds of different stuff. And then they have these other HDPE mold type things where you can make like the geodes, and there's like different arrangements that you can do. They got a ton of stuff. I just go and check out their site. It's awesome. Jamie's here. What's up, dude? How's it going, man? So anyway, real quick, I want to, before we dive into these things, we were doing a little bit of an experiment on the Patreon feed before this. So I'm going to go back to the overhead. Kevin was having some issues with some resin doing like a label blank size thing, and was wondering, he was getting white streaks in the resin, or it was turning kind of white. I haven't seen pictures, so I can't explain it as well as he probably could, but he was asking if the micro starlight glitter could have possibly caused that, and so I'm like, I can't imagine how that could even happen, but so far there's nothing going on in here. So we did just kind of a couple quick experiments with alumilite clear slow. Dumped some, the question was, I was wondering if maybe, because I've used micro starlight in clear, I always use it in clear stuff. I've never seen a white streak or white anything, any reaction in it. So I thought, let's try some smaller amounts and just see. But I'm not seeing any issues. Now it's not fully cured. We just poured this, like half an hour ago maybe. So, but nothing is turning white on me. So I'm thinking that, if that happens, if something like this, you get white streaks in your resin, or I don't know, it's reacting funny, look at what you've put what are you putting in it? That's why he was asking about the starlight glitter, but that stuff's really plastic. It's really what glitters are made out of. It shouldn't react with anything, with resins, any kind of resin. But think about what you're putting in it. Dyes can cause issues with like curing problems if there's moisture in it. Check your if you're doing pressure. Check your air lines and make sure that your compressor doesn't have a bunch of water in it. Always put a filter on the line if you can. But keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the humidity in the air. Or any other types of contaminants that may be in the air. Temperature can cause problems all the time, especially at the lower end of the temperature scale. That can cause issues with curing and maybe cause blushing, is what that, a lot of times with that white, you get a little white haze on the top. I I gotta be honest, one time I like sneezed. Okay. I seriously, I was casting and I'm pretty sure that I sneezed and that actually caused a reaction with alumilite white one time and it started kind of foaming a little bit. So just, actually another one, I was literally sweating, it was hot, and I was like, stooped over something and I dripped sweat into the resin and that caused an issue. So just be kind of aware of these types of things. Moisture is a big one, temperature is a big one. If you didn't mix it properly or didn't measure it properly, that can cause issues with different weird reactions sometimes. So the tough thing is like boiling it down to what caused the issue, especially like in this case, it's really weird. And Kevin's got experience. It's not like this is the first time he ever casted and he's like, I don't know what went wrong. He's got experience and it's kind of a weird one. So this is why I always recommend, be as accurate as you can when you're measuring stuff. Really try to make sure that you've, really mixed well. Try to eliminate problems before they can pile up as possible candidates for problems, right? Keep a filter on your airline just in case the compressor, because compressors are notorious for collecting moisture in the bottom, and then if you attach that and then it sprays into your pressure pot with resin in there, it can cause problems. So filters on the lines, like try to like knock out any possible problem before it happens, so that when problems do happen, which they generally will sometime, you'll have some weird thing happen. Hopefully you can narrow the list of possibilities down and then identify what caused it, So anyway, just wanted to kind of mention that before we get started here. Yeah, clear slow is alumilite clear slow is notorious for that. What I recommend, and this is only for alumilite clear slow, okay? No other resin, don't do this with epoxies or any other resin. If it's humid out, one thing that could maybe help is add a little extra, and I don't have a label on this. I asked Alumilite if they would send me new jugs, my gallon jugs. I buy it in 10 gallons at a time and then just fill these gallons, but they were getting all gross and there was like chunks inside. So I asked them to send me new jugs and they just sent me label-less ones, which doesn't really help on a stream, but they're nice jugs. But anyway, the Alumilite clear slow, add a little extra part B to the mix. And that can sometimes, I always do that whenever I'm doing clear. And this only applies to clear. If we're talking about a white streak or something like that, it's not going to have any effect. If you're dumping a bunch of mica powder in it, this white streak thing is not going to cause any problems. If there's just like a little humidity or something in the air. It's if you're trying to get clear things, add a little extra part B. And sometimes that can help. But again, only for that specific resin. Not Amazing Clear Cast, not Liquid Diamonds, not any other Total Boat or any of these other things. Don't mess with the ratios. But Alumilite Clear Slow, when you're casting very small amounts is one area that I would recommend this. And then also humidity. Try adding a little extra part B. I wouldn't recommend going much over like 1% more. Just like a gram or two or something like that. And it should help out a little bit. When you're talking about the small, just to give everybody an example, for very small amounts, like especially this one's only like half of this thing, it's maybe like 25, 30 grams at the most, probably 20. When you're talking very small amounts, Alumilite Clear Slow was not developed to pour very small amounts. It was developed to pour gigantic amounts, all right? And so it doesn't reach the same temperatures as pretty much every other resin out there. It's going to, get to that exothermic temperature. It's going to be slower and it's not going to be as high. That way you can dump buckets full of it at once and it's not going to overheat. So you can imagine if you're only pouring 20 grams of it, it doesn't generate enough heat to, cure properly, let's say, quote unquote. Now it's still going to harden, it still cures fine, but you could get white streaks on transparent and clear stuff. So just wanted to kind of cover that real quick. Since a problem did occur, let's talk about it kind of thing, Yeah, Mark already said that. I do, I'll even go, if I'm like mixing up 100 grams or something like that, I'll go a gram, or something over with part B. And you're not going to affect the mix ratio. It's going to be okay. There's not going to be any problems. But this is actually something that Alumilite recommended other people that I was party. I was, what is the word? I can't think. I was part of the conversation with. Yeah, I recommend if you're doing label blanks, I got to be honest, I would recommend using an epoxy. I just think that that's kind of a better choice. There's less issues with the labels and adhering and things like that have nothing to do with this kind of white haziness thing. Even if you really want to go with alumilite clear, I would go with the regular version, not the slow, for label blanks for very small things. That's a better choice. It wasn't developed for giant pours. It was developed for like standard size things, so it doesn't have that issue really, not nearly as much at least. So anyway, liquid diamonds is always what I would go for label blanks personally. I like the thinner viscosity of it. You could use Amazing Clear Cast Plus, but it's a thicker viscosity, which is gonna, even though you're pressurizing it, every once in a while you'll still get bubbles that just won't go away in that stuff I've found sometimes. So liquid diamonds, you can actually mix it up, let the cup sit, and most of your bubbles are just gonna float out in the cup, then pour it. And then if you don't pour bubbles into your mold, you don't need to really eliminate them, but I still pressurize it, So anyway, guys, let's do some ornament stuff. I think we covered the experiments and the white haze thing. So let's go with I want to do the skull last. I think that one's my favorite. So we'll do the skull Santa last. So let's do this one. Let's see if we can get zoomed in here. All right. So here's my game plan with this thing. And I know you guys are upside down. We'll see about the camera. It should be okay. I think it's easier for you to see what I'm doing with this angle. So what I want to do is, obviously we want a green tree. We could even maybe go for something like a brown or something base, because this is like supposed to be a snow globe, right? And then white for the snowflakes. Probably white around and maybe even a little bit white down there. On their website, I think the way that they did it was they painted the tree green with mica. Let's see here. Somehow they got like light blue on these snowflakes, I think, and then did white as like the pour. So this one's a little bit more intricate. There's, a little bit of, finagling that you might have to do if you wanted to get like some of these smaller areas painted. But I think I'm just going to go for fairly simple. We're going to go for kind of a yellow star. So there's 3 of those. Green tree. And I think for my first one, I've never done this before. So I think for the first one, what we're going to do is we're going to pour like a white pearl resin. And then that'll have the mica powder in it. So we don't have to paint these snowflakes and stuff to get them to be white. So the only issue is we are going to have, maybe I could go for, I don't know if I really care about painting the bottom of this thing. Because most snow globes do have some like snow in the bottom. So let's just go for that. So I think that'll be fun. So let's see here. Who else here? Is anybody? Oh, it's a gonk. Yeah. I'm not really up on the gonk thing. Sorry. You're expecting a blizzard. Sweet. 11 inches. Where are you at, David? I forget. Oh, someone said, oh, Northeast Wisconsin, yeah. We just got dumped on up in Tahoe last week, and I think we might get some next week too, possibly. Let's see, I'm just scrolling through here. There's lots of people here. Martian's here. Oh. What kind of paper? Well, so actually that's a good point, Jamie. A lot of times, especially with label blanks, if you don't let the ink fully cure, and I would honestly recommend waiting possibly a week just to make sure. But you need to make sure you can't just print these things out, slap them on there, and pour resin on top. But yeah, the paper not in this case, I don't think, but the paper could cause issues. Or even possibly the adhesive, whatever, the glue. But One thing, in this case though, he tried it with Amazing Clear Cast and it actually started doing that in the cup. So I think it's in the environment, sort of, you know? I don't know. Now, one thing, I have no clue how much resin these things take. I don't think it says on the website, does it? I don't think it does. Oh, around 2 ounces. Okay, they do. How useful is that, guys? 2 ounces. And we don't have that for the Christmas one, the snow globe one. But it's probably pretty close to the same, somewhere around there. But I think I'm just going to go a little bit over because I need to fill up. I got one more Happy Fun cup to fill completely. Let me get on camera here. And so we need to top this guy off. So I'm just going to go for extra. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to put some gloves on. Let's get that going. And I am just about wrapped up with the next mystery box. And I think you guys are really going to like this project. I wish that I could have gotten it done a little bit earlier, but I just couldn't. Things are out of control. So that should be coming, I'm hoping, like next week. Maybe we can get that thing ready, maybe next Wednesday, something like that. All right, so we're gonna do some green. I'm thinking camo green maybe, guys. What do you think about that? From P-Town? That would be pretty good. What do you think? Camo green? Not as bright. I mean, it's a little bit darker, but that's kind of how trees are, you know? We could also go for like a spring green. What else do we got? Do I have any? I don't really have any greens from... maybe I do. Let's see. I also have Green Day. Actually, I do have a couple from Eye Candy. I want to look at the difference between Green Day and... Oh goodness, where is it? Oh man, I can find every other... there it is, Green Day. Yeah, that's not really what I don't know if that's really coming through. It's bland. I don't like that compared to the other two. For a tree, it's a cool color, but I think camo green. I think we're gonna go with camo green. What do you guys think? Yeah, mystery box just in time for Christmas. Babysitter duty, oh no. Okay. So let's for me, let's try the brush first. It's a little bit bigger. So all you got to do is just dip it in there. Oh, this is fun. Now I'm painting all of the little things on there, and I don't know. I'm going to go back to they actually painted each one of the ornaments on their website. So that's interesting. One thing I want to mention about this is you could also come back after you've cast this and paint things on the outside. So I do want to mention that because there's a lot of detail in here. Now, one thing that like I said, I was watching a few videos. One thing that I did find, let's say that I'm like, oh, I didn't want to do that. I want to paint every one of these ornament things. Take yourself a little bit of denatured alcohol. You could use acetone. I don't think I'd recommend that. Acetone tends to be really rough on molds. Take a little bit of denatured alcohol and just all you got to do is just wipe it up. and it'll pick up the mica powder. So I think that was one of the best tips that I saw from those videos that I watched. A couple of people. I'm sorry, I don't have the links to them. They were just doing some of the Danner Builds molds. Again, I've never done this before, these types of molds, so I'm kind of learning as we go. And I didn't even give it a test run or anything. Okay, and then you'd want to let that kind of dry out. You can blow it out with air. I think that's what I'm going to do real quick. That'll also kind of blow some of the mica out, but I don't think you'll be able to just blow out mica powder if you've already like painted it on, you know. I don't think it'll just blow out. So let's come back here. Let's give this a try. Let's try something here. So I'm gonna bring this like fine point, and it was a little bit stiff, so I'm gonna kind of just make it a little floppier. So let's get some red out. We got that awesome Yamagata from Eye Candy. That's a really good red. And let's see if we can't sort of kind of paint these little. Man, I don't know how they did that so perfect. I think that they might have had to come back and paint it all on. I don't know. I think you might be better off painting it on after you've cast it. It's really tough to get it to just fall right on that. You know, I'm getting a lot more. Philip's not here, is he? How do you do this, Philip? That's kind of part of the fun of this, though. Trying things out. I might have to come back and just kind of like wipe off after the fact. I don't know. This is a pretty fine brush. I have finer point brushes, but I don't know about that up there. Kind of getting it all over the place. We're going to try the wiping method. Try and wipe some of this off here. Yeah, I don't know about that. It's not working. The problem is these things are not really that much lower. You know, it's not like they're on their own level. So I don't know. I think we're gonna clean up the red, and we're just gonna go with green on this whole thing because I just don't think I can get it to do it the way that I want it to, you know. Yeah, I think in general you want to do it first, but I don't think that it's particularly possible to do what I don't know, maybe you got to have a lot more patience. You guys know that I have zero patience for this kind of stuff. But I don't think it's going to work in this case. It's going to just be like a halo effect around the thing, you know. The Santa skull is going to be a little bit easier to do. All the regions are pretty well defined, you know. So there's just like you kind of have to like screw up, like accidentally bump your brush, I think, to really run into problems on the Santa skull. Still a little bit of a red glow, but hopefully the green will overpower it. Okay, we're gonna go back to green. We're just gonna do the whole tree. And I'm gonna try and get the brush, the bristles kind of into the crevices there for like the branches. And if it's not perfect, whatever. It's not not that big of a deal. But geez, hopefully you guys, yeah, you can see. Let me zoom in a little bit further if I can. I mean, how fun is this? Like, you just sit here and it's like a coloring book, a painting. You just get to paint. And I am getting a little bit on the top here. So this is where these molds are really cool, because if you get little sprays, on the top here, the next layer, that's not really that big of a deal at all. And I'm trying to figure out, that may not matter at all. No, it will. It'll matter a little bit. And another thing you can do, we're not going to have time to do it today, but you can do like multiple pours, basically. And then also kind of layer effects, This is fun. I'm digging this painting. I have done a little, I've kind of painted molds before, like sort of painted things, but not like this. Definitely not exactly like this. The little details. I think I need a little bit more mica. You really don't need to load a bunch on your brush. And it kind of statically, like static kind of brings it all over the place. At least in my shop. It's really dry here, so static can kind of push the mica powders around a little bit more than you might want. Okay, so we're looking pretty good. We just need to get up here in the top here. Yeah, I think I might switch to the... I've got a really super fine brush. I don't know if you guys can even see that tip. Yeah, there it is. Let's get on camera here. So I've got a really fine one, so let's go with that for getting into the crevices up at the top, because they're just really hard to... That works pretty good. Maybe I should just go with that for... I think I could maybe have gotten the ornaments with this one. Looking to make sure that I got where that I want it to be. We need some more in there, and there. And one thing to keep in mind also is I'm getting the sides of this thing, and that kind of, if you get into like, if you really want to get like different stuff, you can even paint the side wall of the mold a different color. And that kind of takes you into like a little bit, even like one extra layer of interestingness. Glitter by numbers. That's fun. All right, so I think that's good. I think we got the tree as good as it's going to get. Now, like I said, I got a little bit of green on the tops here and there. That's as far as it'll go. There's a little bit of green there, and just kind of dusted parts of the top there. So I'm going to try again to kind of wipe this off a little bit. I don't know if like a paper towel, you know, like what I'm doing, paper towel is the best way to do this. I don't know. Who even knows? You know, that's working pretty good. Just get the tops there. Having a little bit tougher time trying to get it off the, like the bottom of the mold. Okay, I think that's probably pretty good. So let's switch over to the, I'm going to try and like just wipe this one off. I think you can just kind of wipe it off and then switch to another one. Let's go with some Olympic gold for the stars. This is a P-Town subby color. Hell Day. Oh no. The donuts in your house. Oh my goodness. Sounds amazing. I'm a donut fan. Yeah, see that? The static kind of sucks it all over the place. I think we'll be okay. One thing I also want to mention is before you even really begin, definitely before you start pouring resin, make sure that your surface is level. You know, that you're working on, wherever they're going to be sitting and curing. Because if it's slanted, then in the mold it's going to be, you know, slanted also, and you're going to get sideways looking, yeah, you know, whatever ornaments. All right. We got 1, 2. Three of those. Now I got a little bit of that gold on the side in there, so I definitely want to wipe that off. One thing that occurs to me is you might want to use like a lint-free type of material, which I actually have some of that, so I might go and get some. See if those work any better. That worked out pretty good. And then I got to get the gold off the top here. Does a pretty good job just picking it right off that top layer. We're looking pretty good. Okay, so the rest, let's see here. Now, the other thing to think about is they're like multi-layers, and you could even get different types of effects. Like on this one, I'm thinking you could maybe even go like fill it up to this next level. Let's see if I can get I'm gonna get a toothpick and I'm gonna see if you guys can see that. So we have a lower level where the tree is, the stars, these snowflakes, and then this level, and then you have like the top of the mold up here. So technically you could pour a level that's like even, or like even with this, and get your white, and then we can paint this actually. So I don't want to do multiple layers on today's stream like that, because I don't want to have to wait hours for this to cure and all that. But I think we could get away with we could paint this also. Let me look at what are their examples looking like. Yeah, that's what they did. And they got crazy detailed on theirs. I don't know how they did it. I'm going to switch to let's see here. Can I do this? Hold on a sec. There. All right, so they got crazy detailed on these things. Can you guys, hopefully you guys can see that. Are you seeing it? I don't know if you're seeing it. I really don't know how they did that. That's pretty crazy. But the dark blue, I think we could do something like that. I'll switch back to the overhead here. Paul Hogan. Yeah, so let's do one more layer. And the thing about this, my snowflakes are going to get, they could get a little bit of the darker blue. Let's go with that dark. I kind of like that dark blue, but we could go with any color really. Anybody have any ideas for a color for this layer around the tree? Actually, maybe even like a lighter blue. So how about like a light blue? Do we have like a baby blue is kind of what I'm like. Maybe this Carolina. I'm thinking maybe some Carolina blue around there. Color that in before paint pens. Maybe that's how they did it, with a little bit of paint. I don't know. We're using micas though, because I ain't got no paint pens. There we go. Mix white and blue. The problem is I don't really want to. I don't know about brown paper towels. I don't think that would really. Ooh, black would be kind of cool. I don't know what Masuo black is, but black would be kind of neat. Let's try the black, because they already have blue on theirs. We're going to go with Ninja Black, though, instead. That'll be kind of interesting. We might get a little black in our in the snowflakes there. It's just really hard to keep these things separated. And more humid places might do better with this. It just everything's. I'm always very staticky, but it's just because it's really dry here. So I'm just gonna get it. Let's try this brush. Let's try the like makeup one. See how that goes. That might actually work better. They're actually made to work with micas. Let's give this a shot. Ooh, that's nice. I think that's working better. And I don't really care if I get any of this stuff on the things that I've already painted on the lower levels. You're not going to see that, you know. Where there is kind of a problem is these snowflakes. If I get stuff down in there, the black, then we're kind of hosed. You're going to see it, you know. And it's going to be very difficult to get out. Wow, this thing works way better than that brush. You guys see? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Do you see what I see? Oh, I just flicked it. Don't flick it. Get a little bit more of that. That's working pretty good. I think no matter what, you know, you can sit here and stress over the colors and if you got any little specks of mica. But I think in the end, I think you're going to be happy. It's going to make a cool thing, even if you didn't make it, you know, perfect. I think you're still going to get some pretty cool stuff. A lot of times I kind of have a little bit too much perfectionist in me. Like I have perfectionist in me and then I'm just like, I give up. It's impossible. This is working good. I like this little makeup brush thing. Working. That's easier to. It's not like it doesn't flick it around as much. Let's say. Kind of having an issue with that. It was kind of the bristles kind of tend to flick things. Oh, I just backed that. Okay. I'm going to dump this out a little bit because I think that's not really working. That didn't really do anything. I accidentally flicked my brush all over the place. And there might even be other micas that are a little bit like better suited for this. Possibly, I don't know. I'm thinking like finer ones would probably do better. I don't know. All right, I think we got it. Kind of looks a little bit silver more than black, but that's what we got. Silver should work pretty good too, I think. Okay, so I think we have everything good to go here. We're just going to pour some white pearl, basically. And it should be pretty good. Yeah, you take the night off and do it. Yeah, this is a Ninja Black eye candy. That's a pretty good one. And then they have another one called Sumi Black. And like I said, I don't know about painting stuff on, but in blanks, these two are like the darkest ones that eye candy. It's like the blackest micas that I've found so far anyway. But that's like mixed into the resin, you know. And you can always just add some black dye to, you know, black mica powder and it'll definitely darken it up. But leave a little bit of pearl to it, you know. Okay, so I think that's it, guys. I'm going to put these brushes away. I think we're done with all these colors because we're going to be using them. Well, we're going to use the red on this. Oh, I just did the wrong thing. Put the wrong lid on the wrong jar. That was silly. And I got some green in my cold Oh well. Those away. Red's coming back. Okay. So let's mix up some resin. The Santa skull was like 2 ounces of resin, so let's mix up like I'm gonna mix up like 100 grams. So there's 28.35 grams per ounce. I'm just gonna go for 100 because I want to fill my Happy Fun cup. We gotta top this guy off, so we're gonna go for extra. 150. That should work. So let's zoom out a little bit so you can kind of see what's going on overall. Now, in this case, I don't have liquid diamonds, but that's probably what that's maybe what I would go with. I think these types of things lend themselves to non-pressurizing. I don't love the idea of using Amazing Clear Cast because it's so thick. That's why my preference would be to use liquid diamonds, but I'm all out of it. So let's see, what are we gonna do? I guess we can pressurize them. Why not? We could use deep pour. Actually, we're going to use deep pour. Deep pour is slow setting, so the bubbles will come out, but it's also very thin viscosity. So let's do that. Let's see, what do we got here? Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to switch to volume measurement. I don't know what I'm sure there's a weight equivalent. I don't know what it is though. So we're just going to mix up 1 part. Let's see here, 100, 1 to 2. So all right, we're going to change it up a little bit, and I don't think I'm going to pour this into the Happy Fun cup because it's not going to cure in time, like forever. So, oh man, that's a little tiny amount. Hard to see. 1 part to 2 parts. So I'm gonna pour in the part A first, just so I can see it a little easier, because it's 2 parts. Yeah, you can heat it, but I don't have any way to heat it up in time, so I didn't think about that. And again, I got to be honest, Amazing Clear Cast is just not. I really don't like the thick viscosity. Even if you heat it up, it's not particularly fun to use for these types of things. I don't find. I'm going to add. I'm going to the 50 milliliter mark. And then I'll do 25 for the part, whatever, the other part. Which one is this? Side A is 2 parts of side A to 1 part of side B is for the Amazing Clear, or sorry, the deep pour from alumilite. Now this one is a very long working time. It's like 2 hours. So I don't know that it's the best option necessarily, but liquid diamonds would have been a good one if I had it on hand. Yeah. Now that I've done that, I kind of want to go back to alumilite clear slow. I think we're going to do alumilite clear slow and pressurize the other one. We'll give it 2 different looks. How about that? Philip's here! Oh no, I hope she gets better soon. Yeah, we've been having fun with the molds. I wasn't sure how you're supposed to paint these. So you guys in your picture online, I can't talk, throat's dry. You guys had like every single ornament painted perfectly. How did you do that? Was that mica powder? It just seems like I could not get it to work. I was getting red. I tried doing red and it was getting everywhere. So I wiped it up and just went with green for the tree. The deep pour takes a long time to cure. It's going to take probably like days, honestly, for something this small. It's really more of a you know, it's meant to be poured for like in huge amounts, but like 3 inches thick, for like what am I trying to say? Like the tabletops, you know, the river tables. It works fine though. I mean, I've poured dice. I think I've said this like 1,000 times. I've poured things as small as these little dice with deep pour. I mean, that thing's like tiny. I don't know how much resin that is, but it's not much. And it, you know, it took a couple days, you know, two days maybe. But obviously, I mean, it hardened up fine. It was okay. Deep pour is a pretty decent resin. Like I said, it's like the viscosity of alumilite clear slow, but it's an epoxy. And 2-hour working time. So it's not too bad, you know? Not too shabby. Now, I could paint the white down in there. I could have. But we're just going to add the mica powder into the resin and see how that goes. Oh, you know what would be fun? It's probably a terrible idea with these molds. I'm going to actually cover... I'm going to have to blow that one out again. I'm going to cover these 2 other molds, but we're going to go with the macro pearl. That's like the glittery, you know, bigger chunk pearl. Should be pretty sweet. All right, so you know, 1 color. Oh, tape. Oh. Huh. And that's with paintbrush and mica. Huh. Wow, you guys are good. The etchings you paint. Okay. Ah, okay. There it is. Yeah, I was thinking that you could maybe... I've seen some people paint stuff afterwards. I watched... last night I actually watched a couple. There's like 2 or 3 people that I found on YouTube that did... I think they were all like live stream things, but they were doing different of your 3D molds. Just to kind of get an idea. Got some good tips. But the beauty of it is it looks easy. There's not much going. None of this is very hard. Maybe a little bit of patience, but not too tough, you know. So we're gonna go with the macro pearl, macro sparkle from P-Town. So I'm gonna open this. I have to warn you guys, the minute you open this one and dip your stick in it, I don't know if you can see it. This stuff gets everywhere. It's like super glitter. So I'm actually going to kind of do it a little bit over here because it's going to go everywhere. I don't know. I'm just going to use like... I'm going to load it up. So let's put like... Let's see what happens if we put 2 of these spoons. It's a 1/4 teaspoon. This stuff will just end up flying all over your shop. It's kind of the same as the gold, the 24 karat gold, or whatever it is, 14 karat gold. I think I'm gonna mix a couple different things. I'm also gonna add some micro pearl in this, and that'll just kind of fill in what I'm worried about, especially this being like a 2-hour working time. I'm worried this stuff will actually sink, which is not a problem per se in this case, doing it for this. But I'd rather just try and kind of fill around that. So we're going to add a little bit of the micro pearl as well. And that should just kind of fill up the in-between spaces. Make it even pearlier, let's say. All right, so let's see. Hopefully I didn't screw this all up. I think we're ready to give it a pour. One little trick that I saw somebody doing that did some of the Danner Builds molds was I usually just dump, like I just pour, which I think in this case, all I'm doing is we're going to make this all one layer. We're just going to fill it up. So I don't think there's a problem just pouring it right here and letting it flow in and around and all this stuff. But to get into like little areas, like if we needed to get resin into like little corners and stuff, all they do is they just pull some with their stick and just kind of drizzle it all over the mold. It was a neat way to kind of to get colors in certain areas and keep it contained to certain spots, especially when you have multi-layer molds. Like I said, I don't think it matters so much in this case because it's all just one. This specific color just needs to fill everywhere. But I guess, like even with it like this, I mean, you can still kind of get it into these little areas and you're getting like smaller drizzle. I still think it might actually be advantageous even for this to try and just drizzle it into these little areas here rather than try and have it, flow everywhere around. I don't know. I'm just tossing out some random ideas. Like you could do like different colors for different like little like lines and stuff in the mold, and kind of crazy. So not only can we're doing like multiple colors getting painted on, but you could also technically do kind of multiple in some of these 3D molds you can do multiple resin colors too. Lots of things you can do. It's pretty cool. I like this little kind of stick pouring thing. A lot different than what I usually do. Dump and run, guys. Yeah, you should put a video up on your YouTube. That'd be cool. I think this is going to be pretty cool, actually. think this is going to turn out pretty neat. So now at this point, I feel confident that, you know, all those little crevices are pretty well filled. I think I can just go for the dump and run. I don't know if there's any advantage to like filling it absolutely to the brim. I don't really see one. So I'm just going to leave it there. Let me know, Philip, if there's any, if that's a no-no for some reason. But it just seems like we're pretty close. Doesn't need to be like overflowing out of it. Now, what I am going to do though is I'm going to get this thing on some sort of a, let's see here. This surface is flat right here, but, and I probably should have done this beforehand, but yeah, really should have. Okay, so we're gonna slide this onto this little thing. It's not gonna be that big of a deal, but, oh shoot, I need this. Okay, I need to find another piece of HDPE. Hold on. I use that for specific things. Let's see here. Do we have any? Okay, well that's not working. I thought I had some pieces of HDPE somewhere. Oh, that's a good piece. Okay. I got some of this. Now I can just move it around. This thing's going to be open for like days, really. So I'm going to need to be able to, you know, move it around a little bit. I'm going to get this out of the way. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see this for a little bit, but I'm hoping maybe I can demold it maybe Friday. We will definitely be able to demold the other one though, because we're going to use alumilite clear slow for this skull Santa. So definitely we'll have results by the weekend on those. Then unfortunately, I'm just going to leave this because I don't want to put this in that Happy Fun cup. Unfortunately, it's just not what I want to do. So we are going to save it. I don't think I have any, really good molds that I need to get some other molds that I can fill with stuff like that. Okay, so Santa time. Let's see here. Yeah, I love these things. I was watching, somebody did one of the terrariums. That was so cool. Those look so much fun. Frank, don't worry, man. I am pretty much the same way. It's actually, I am really not good at like this kind of fine work, but that one was a little bit more, there was a lot of like little finicky stuff if you really wanted to get kind of crazy with it. But like this one, I don't think is going to be particularly difficult. I think it's easier, like having more like larger areas and stuff. I think it's going to be a little bit easier to deal with. Now, let's see here. So I'm just looking at their example, and they did black eyes, black all the way around. Yeah. So there's all these little details, and that's what Philip was talking about. You can just paint on after the fact. So we're not going to be able to do that because I don't have paint pens or any of that stuff. But I can do, let's see here. How's this going to work? So we'll paint on a white little bobble right there. And actually, it might be smarter to pour the black stuff in first. I don't know. That seems like the smart thing to do, is to pour. Philip, would you recommend pouring the black resin down into this crack first? Problem is, we only have 12 minutes with alumilite clear slow, so if that's the case, that's not a very good way to do it. Or I guess it could be the last thing, and then we just dust everything. That's how it works. You can make everything else black. You pour black in here, and then it just falls down in. I got to wrap my head around how these things work. It's you know, I don't do this stuff, and there's all these layers, and you got to kind of think about what's happening here and how am I doing it. Oh, that didn't work at all. Yeah, so you can't really blow mica powders out. That doesn't really work. So I'm going to get some denatured alcohol and wipe that out. Okay. All right, I think I got all that. I had some gold down in there. We don't want the gold. So I'm definitely thinking black eyes, white face, red cap. Actually, maybe white right here. White, and then red. I think that's the way to do it. What do you guys think? All right, so hold on a minute. Got to scroll up. Haunted house sounds fun. I was just reading the commentary between Philip and Kevin. Yeah, I know. Sometimes you're like, I don't even know where to start. Oh, you dusted the hat 2 colors of mica. Then poured the black resin. Eyes in the rim. Poured white. Oh man. That sounds tough. All right, so that's one issue. So I think I'm gonna try white. I think I'm gonna try and just paint, dust everything, and then just pour black on everything, because we don't have time to do multiple layers, you know, of multiple pours. You're not going to see that. So let's just see how that goes. I may be kind of wrong about how this is going to look. I don't know. But I think we could dust on white on here, because I think that's white, 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 black, 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 red. And then if we pour black resin, then it should fill everything else with that. I think that'll work. I don't know. Scream at me if I'm wrong. Dave Porter's here. What's up? Yeah, 2 resin. Yeah, we'll just do one. I'm not feeling too inclined to be messing with trying to get resin in that little channel. I gotta be honest. I'm gonna see if my way works, and if we screw it up, then everyone's gonna know don't do it that way. How about that? Like I said though, I really do think it would be very difficult to really screw these things up to the point where like are like ruined. I mean, even if you get a little mess up here or there, I think you're going to be okay. So let's get us some, and I'm thinking, so we can also do, there's like different colors of white. So like let's yeah. So we're gonna do the micro pearl on his face. And then we're gonna do I'm not gonna pull out the macro sparkle because that is definitely gonna get everywhere. Let's try just the snow, like a white pearl, because it's a little bit different. It's like larger chunks. Sorta. That's very similar. Huh. I haven't used Snow White. I don't. I guess not. Where's this white pearl? Ooh, you know what would be really kind of neat? What do you guys think about trying an interference red on the hat? And then we're covering the back with black. You're all here to, yeah, you are. You're all here to learn from my mistakes. That's exactly what that way you guys don't do it. Let's try interference red. That'll be like a kind of a different red, but it should, because I'm pouring black behind it, it should be pretty awesome actually. It's not going to be like other, you know, like the opal pearl where it's like white looking. It shouldn't look white at all. It should be like red and just have that iridescence to it. So let's try that out. That'll be kind of fun. We got some red. Interference red somewhere. That's blue. Where's my red? Interference red. Go for it! Yeah, I don't really have too many hyper shifts. We could do like blurple. We should do blurple eyes. What do you think about that? Or actually, we could even do the blurple on this little part of the hat. So I do have some stuff. Not too much. All right, so let's see here. So I'm going to go back to this brush. I want to try this disposable one and see how that works first. So let's go with interference red. Let's paint that on first. Why not? Let's just do it, guys. See how this brush works. That's working pretty good. Might be a little bit kind of purplish. Are you guys seeing what I'm doing? Okay. This one's working okay. I think I like that other one a little bit better because it's just got a bigger pad on it, kind of. I don't know. Yeah, you gotta watch out. This stuff gets kind of everywhere. Static is just terrible. All right, we're doing it. Red eyes. There are no wrong choices. That's true. Let me try this. I wish I had more of those little things. I don't think I do. I don't know if you can really clean off like like the black off this brush somehow. I'm gonna try and blow it off. Let's just see what happens. Oh yeah. Some of it came off. Some of it did not. Let's try a little alcohol on this little brush. I don't know. Yeah, that's not doing anything. You kind of get one shot with this thing. I think I'll save it because we've already done most of this interference red. Okay, so we got our interference red going. Let's see here. Did I? Somebody send me makeup brushes. I need them. That's funny. Yeah, no, I don't think I'll raid Gretchen's anything. Like that's not a good idea. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of bent over this thing too. It'd be a little bit better if I had a chair, maybe. I'm just gonna kind of wipe up some of this stuff here, just so I'm not like dragging it everywhere. Got a little bit on the insides here too. I don't care if there's a little bit here and there. Not that big of a deal, but I do want to get this off. I'm not sure about, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of going white for this little part and then going blurple for the eyes. That way it gives it a little bit of separation between those two effects, you know? I think we'll do that. Let's go blurple. Blurple eyes. These are fun to paint. I really think if you're into like coloring books and resin casting, you're gonna love these things. I'm gonna actually like make sure that I get the sides this time. On this one, I want that I want to make sure I do that. Then we'll go black for the nose, I think, or actually we could give him a red nose like Rudolph. Or green, whichever one you guys want. Okay, we got the blurple eyes. We need some white. Oh, I just touched it. We're gonna need to wipe that off. All right. Clean that up. Clean this up here while I'm looking at it. Stuff kind of does get everywhere, but I do kind of think, I don't know, I'm not sure, do more humid, this is a question for Philip. If it's a little bit more humid, does it seem to paint on better, and does the mica powder not seem to get everywhere? I'm just wondering if it's me or because it's dry or who knows. Way too fiddly for you, huh? Yeah, this is pretty fiddly for me too. I'm usually not like, I don't know. I get a little bit impatient, but I don't know. It's kind of fun. It's a different type of fiddly, I think, for me. This is in my wheelhouse a little bit more than some of the other things that I've done that I'm like, okay, I'm done. Can't handle it. All right, so white face, I think. Is that what we were doing? I'm gonna go back to the paintbrush and just see how that goes. We'll get a fresh one out. We're gonna go with this one's the Shady from Eye Candy. It's like a micro pearl. Yeah, it just seems to get it everywhere with the paintbrush. It's already down in the channel. Like there's no way I'm gonna get that out. That's one of the advantages to pouring that first. Because you're not gonna get it, you know, all over the place. Wow, okay, I'm done with the paintbrush. That sucked. We're going back to the makeup brushes. Maybe I was going too fast or something. I don't know. But yeah. These work way better. Look at that. I don't know how I'm going to get that white out of there. There's a bunch of white powder down in that channel. Okay. I guess it's really thin. Here's what I'm going to do about the powder in the channel. I'm going to get a brush and try to just move it like one way. I'm going to get the brush, a little bit of denatured alcohol on this brush, like a pointy brush. Get it a little bit alcohol-y and just try and at least move it to one place, one area. Or try and pick it up a little bit, but I don't know if that's going to actually happen. It's not really working. Picking some of it up, but this might work. That worked okay. I don't know. I don't think I got all of it. That's for sure. It's better than it was, though, I think. Seems like it anyway. Okay, I'm happy with that. I think that's okay. And we need white for this, white for that. Okay, I don't know which one's which at this point. More brushes. Oh, there it is. Okay, never mind. We're okay. The white brush is in the white thingy. My lights are reflecting off the mold, so I got to keep constantly moving where I'm going. All right, we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Nope, I just put a bunch down in there. Yeah, I think that putting the black down first is smart. It's always, I think in general, you're always kind of best doing the bottom layer and then working your way up. I would assume that's how most things like this work. But like I said, I really didn't want to have to fiddle with that at the time. And it's tough because I want to use alumilite clear slow, and that's just not really, that's kind of tough to do it that way. Because it's only a 12-minute working time, and I just don't have enough time to, like, I'd probably have to pour that channel and then pressurize it and then come back to that later. Oh, I forgot to do the nose. All looking good. Okay, so we need some black. Actually, this one had black on it, so let's go with this guy. This is my favorite makeup brush. What's your favorite makeup brush? Actually, those other little disposable ones might have worked a little bit better for this one specifically. Because it's kind of small. Hopefully you guys can see. Makeup brushes for everyone for Christmas. Let's see. I think I'm gonna, this is like one little weird layer. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna paint this white, I think. Carefully. I don't know. That probably should have been a different color, but that's okay. Okay, so we got it, guys. Got all my makeup brushes. Well, I'll tell you what, one thing I don't like about this is it's super short. It's really not, you know, like if I was gonna try to use both tips, like it's really hard. I want to hold it here and it's gonna end up getting mica all over your hands and it's kind of silly. So I don't know. These ones are probably my favorite. Something like that. I might have to look into makeup brushes. Always something. All right. So I'm just gonna toss all those things. Close up the red. I'm going to toss that. We're tossing everything. Get it out of the way. Okay, so we're going to mix up some black resin, alumilite clear slow. Put this away. And we don't forget, we got one more. I don't know. I think we're just going to have to pour this as one thing. And then I may have to try and find some of these little paint pens. So if anybody knows of the paint pens, you know where to get them, let me know. Or whatever, whichever way to paint, let me know. Yeah, I gotta find my favorite lip gloss brush. Yeah, blush for the cheeks, that's funny. Let's see, let me scoot up here. Scotch tape. Oh, Scotch tape, that's a good idea. Sorry about that, I should have been watching. Nice. Let's see here. Yeah, so the humidity a little bit. Yeah, it's tough if it's dry because it was just, I mean, it was like you could just literally see it like being sucked off, you know, like I didn't bump the brush or anything. It's like sucking it, you know, onto different parts. So some of these, there's going to be some little white and whatever in the black channel, like the separations, but whatever. Again, here's the thing. In the end, I have a feeling that, okay, so there might be a little bit of white or this. It might actually kind of give it some, like some interest, honestly. It may be kind of like an interesting look. So this one's 2 ounces. So So we're looking at like 50 grams. This time I am going to go for 100, and that way I can get a pour in our Happy Fun cup. And then we got this little skull pot. That's going to be fun. I don't know if anybody does. So here we're going to do a little fun thing. It may not be fun for you guys, but if anybody wants to pick the color, first super chat gets to pick the color of the skull pot. I should have said like the 37th super chat gets to pick a color. We're just going to do first. And if anybody, wants to keep super chatting, go right ahead. I'm all right with that. All right, so we're going to widen up a little bit. We got this thing ready, so we're going to go 50 grams of part A. Actually, yeah. I have some older resin that I need to actually use up, so I keep forgetting about it. We're going to go 50. Oh, 51. That doesn't matter. It will matter on the second pour here. 51. Okay. Gretchen, I don't raid Gretchen's anything. I bought this off Amazon, the ones that I have. Going forward, though, I don't know. We'll have to see about that. The problem is it wouldn't really do me any good because I would need like tons of these things. I need this set, Then 50 grams of part B. 51 actually. There we go. Okay, we got our resin ready. And I'm going to go for just black dye in this. So, I don't know how much. Let's see, we got 100 grams. Yeah, so we don't need much. I'm just going to add I like to mix up my resin first just to make sure everything's all mixed. I'm not seeing any wispy trails while it's still clear, Then I'll add my black. I'm probably going to put, oh no, he's going 14 karat nugget gold. Sweet. Nice. I like that. That's going to be a really cool one, I think. And that the nugget gold stuff is probably going to look a little interesting with the what did he call that? Embossing or whatever? Posca fine tip? All right. All right, I'll check those out. Yeah, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Ah, there it came. It came through. All right, so that's mixed up. I'm going to put like 0.2 grams of black dye in here. That's all you really need. Yeah, the static is so bad in here that it messes. I don't know if you guys can see that. It messes. I'm not touching the scale. It messes my scales up. And I thought my scales were broken for a long time. I didn't know what was going on, and it's static electricity. So I got to be really careful when I'm adding dyes because I need things to be, some of them are like to the 0.1 gram or 2. And so I have to be careful, like I have to add the dye and then walk away from it because the static is so bad. And part of it I think is me. I have static in me but it's just dry air. So it's really bad here. Life if golden, nice. That's funny. And so what I'm going to do though, I don't need to go there. I am going to show for anybody that doesn't know how this works, if you were going to if you were going to do this the right way, where you fill that outline, you know, part, what you would want to do is you'll get yourself one of these syringes, and I'll try and, I don't have a link right like in the chat right now, but I will have to link. And there's some different ones. These ones work best, like they don't really work. They don't have a tip long enough like on them. So I buy the tips. I have seen some people use, there's different syringes that actually, you don't really need to buy the tips necessarily, but I like these. It gives you a little bit more control. And so you just suck the resin into your syringe. And I like to wipe off the tip, and then you would just put it down in here. And then, you know, squeeze it out, obviously. You can just kind of trace around there. I mean, I don't need to do this on this one because all we're doing is pouring black. But I just wanted to kind of show you how you would, you know, fill that channel otherwise. Pretty cool. These syringes really make life really a lot easier when you're, you know, for a lot of those 3D print, you know, you got those cavities and the 3D print files, stuff like that. You know, these things really make it doable. It's like there's just no way that you would just pour, you know, out of a cup. You know, so you just have to be kind of careful and then lay it down. So I don't need to do that. In this case, like I said, I just wanted to show you guys the example of, you know, using these syringes. So I'm going to actually squirt that back in. And then these things are reusable. Just at the end, fill a cup with acetone and then suck some in and squirt it out, and then you can kind of clean up the insides of your syringes, and they're reusable. Eventually they may get to the point where they're a little sticky and you may as well just throw it away, but they come in like packs of 100 or so not that big of a deal. I'm really anxious to see how the color shift and the interference colors look. A lot of times I don't really get the full experience of interference or color shift powders in the things that I do, because they don't have it's not a thin layer with black right behind it. We're just dumping a bunch of it in resin, and it's, you know, clear resin basically. And so you don't get as much of the effect a lot of times with those, you know, color shift powders and things, or interference powders. All right, so as you can see, there's a little bit of powder that kind of came off on the back. Not a big deal, you know. But I do want to like mention that. Now, again, I forgot to put this on a on a shelf beforehand. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. You can see what I'm doing. I'm going to hopefully not screw this whole thing up and spill it everywhere. Get that to the edge. Now, one of the issues with this is my pressure pots are fairly level, but you know, they're not perfect. So hopefully it's not going to turn out weird. I am going to try and you know, check the level after I place this in the pot. I'm gonna check it out and see, you know, how does it look. Kevin! Oh, you're welcome, Kevin. No problem. Like I said, if you keep having any issues, make sure to you know, take a picture or video or whatever, and we'll figure it out. So I'm gonna put this in here. Hopefully it fits. Yeah, okay. And what I'm gonna do is I have a torpedo level somewhere. just one of these short torpedo levels. And I just want to see, yeah, so it's a little bit off. So I'm going to try to kind of put this thing in a position where it's somewhat level, if I can. That's pretty good. That's not good. Kind of wobbles. So again, I think that your best bet is to use a resin that doesn't need to be pressurized. Alumilite clear. In this case, we might have been able to get away with it, but I'd rather kind of pressurize this. So it may be a little bit kind of funky, possibly, on the back side of it, but you know, I don't know if that really matters that much. I'm just curious. I want to try something. I just want to see if this pot might be a little bit more level than that one. Problem is this little carrier thing is not particularly level. It can kind of wobble. Yeah, whatever. It's in there, this one now, so I'm just going to use this pot. This one's bolted down too, so it makes it a little bit easier to clamp down without it moving around much. All right, so pressurize that to 60 psi, and then we'll get our Happy Fun cup out. Oh, there's a little bit of chunk of something in there. We'll go like that. Static, yeah, I've been looking at those. I've seen those static-free mats. Yeah, that would be nice. I'm in like the Reno Tahoe area, but still, it's super super dry. Oh, I don't want the double cam. Sony cam. All right. Oh, a little bit. We were getting out a little out of control there. Alumilite clear and clear slow, technically you really should pressurize it to get rid of the air bubbles, but for these Happy Fun cups, like whatever. I don't, what's going to happen is you'll see, maybe you might notice it, but I think it'll sand out, you know, or whatever. I don't think it's going to be super problematic, but you know, on pen blanks and things where they need to be good, I would recommend pressurizing Alumilite clear slow. Okay, so move that over, and then we got our little skull guy, and we're gonna go with the, what is it called? Is it 14 karat? I always mess up. 14 karat nugget gold from the eye candy. And this stuff is like that macro pearl, where it tends to get everywhere the minute you scoop it out. So again, with the static thing here, it ends up everywhere. It's fun. We're going to go 14 karat. We're going to go with Alumilite clear. Well, yeah. Dang, I need to get some liquid diamonds. I think, okay, so let's just go with Amazing Clear Cast on this one. Because mixing up a small amount is really not that big of a deal. And it's not like it really needs to flow or do anything, so I think we'll be good. So that, I don't know how much that'll hold, but I mean, it's got to be something like, you know, 20 grams maybe, something like that. I don't know. Probably less. So we're just going to mix up, I think that thing should be ready maybe by the time. I'm gonna mix up 100 of this or so. Actually, a little bit less than that, 50 and let's see here. Four divided by 2. 42. So 50 grams. So this is Amazing Clearcast Plus, and I figured out it's an epoxy, and you measure it by volume. But I figured out, I contacted Alumilite, and it's 100 to 84 is the mix ratio. So I'm just going to do 50 and 42. So 50 grams of part A, 42 grams of part B. I just divided each of those numbers by 2 for anybody that wasn't really following what I just said. This stuff's a lot more thick, you know. It's like you know, a honey bear. It also makes it harder to sneak up on because you're like dumping a doesn't flow slowly, you know. It just keeps kind of flowing. So there's the part A. So we tried a few different types of resin today. That's kind of fun with these. And then 42 part B. Oh, yep, that's a little bit over. We're okay though. Yeah, you know, it's like it's pretty thick stuff. It's like honey or something. It works fine. It's fine, but definitely works a little bit easier if you can heat it up. And I showed a couple times ago these reptile heating pad things. Really, especially for something like that, it makes it really simple. It's an easy way to just warm up your resin. You can just stick the jugs on top of this thing, plug it in. You might have to kind of fiddle around a little bit to find the right setting, the temperature, because it's like a, you know, like a dial. But they're super cheap. It was like 20 bucks, and I got 2 of these things, I think. I think that was the price. So the problem is I wouldn't have had time. It takes, you know, I would say like hours for it to like heat it up in my shop to get it to the point where it's thinner. If it's just warm in your shop, so it's only 68 degrees right now, and this stuff is, you know, fairly thick. But in the summer when it's like 84 degrees, that stuff's relatively thin and it's less of a pain. So let me see if I can find. I think I might have linked. Let me look real quick. I think I might have linked to the reptile things in the description. Yeah, the heating pads are in the description of this video. Called reptile heating pad. You can find that there. Actually, I can get the link. Hold on. For anybody that's interested in looking at them. Drop it in the chat. So there's that. Got it on Amazon. Like I said, I think it's about 20 bucks. Yeah, because I really don't like volume. It's a pain to try and measure it that way. Just give me a scale. It's not. It doesn't lie, you know. So. I'm actually thinking, All right, we're gonna try something a little bit different. We're gonna paint the gold nugget on the front of this thing and then pour clear on the back. I'm just kind of curious to see how that looks, where you can see through it, you know, from the back side. Let's give that a shot. Let's see what happens. So the painting part's going to be easy. In this case, I actually am going to just use a paintbrush because I don't really care if it goes everywhere. We're just filling the cavity here. See how it gets crazy on the outsides? And I'm also going to make sure that I paint the sides as well with this. Okay, so we got it all dusted. I got the sides and everything's good to go. Yeah, it's so much easier with weight, I think. I don't know. Some folks might. Now, if you're doing like river tables, then you're just, you know, dumping it in a bucket and putting like, you know, 2 gallons of part A and 1 gallon of part B or what, you know, whatever it is. It doesn't really need to be that perfect, you know, and stuff. But when you're doing small things like this, just let me know what the weight is. It's so much easier. I find it to be easier anyway. That's almost cheating. Making sure that I got this nice and mixed up. It looks pretty clear, but you can see because it's so thick, it holds on to these bubbles. You know, it's very bubbly, and it doesn't release them as well. Now this isn't meant for like craft casting like this necessarily. That's not why it was developed. The original, you know, thing, it's for bar top coatings. So very thin layers poured on top of a flat, you know, desk or whatever. So in that case, it doesn't really matter that it's thick and that, you know, the bubbles will pop and you can just pop them with heat or whatever. So this is one that's not, you know, a lot of people say, well, it's got a long working time, so you don't really need to pressurize it, but I would argue that you still do. You're going to get bubbles because it's so thick that they won't escape even with a 40-minute working time. So just something to kind of think about. I think a lot of times the thinner viscosities are a little easier to work with for certain types of pouring and things like this and letting it sit around, I find. I think the ones that are meant to coat things a lot of times will be a little thicker. Hard to see the I got it full. It's up to the top there. So we got it. I'm just kind of curious to see how this is going to look though in the end, like I said. So there are bubbles, and I can see them popping, and most of them are going to come out. But if you want this to be dead clear, you're really going to want to pressurize it. So I'm gonna pop it on a piece of HDPE and toss it in our. I think we'll just go for the pressurizing it method. That way, I know for sure that there's no bubbles. I really think it'd be kind of cool to see that all the way through. I don't know. We'll have to kind of see how that looks. Good choice in color though. It's looking pretty sweet. So we'll drop that in. I'm not as worried, I don't think, about the leveling on that one. You guys can't see what I'm doing. We're dropping it into the pressure pot again. Okay. And then this one, so on the first resin that we used deep pour, all right? And that one's got a super long like working time and open time and cure time. So there's three things with resins. There's the working time, which means how long is it liquid. There's the demold time, what I call the demold time. And that's like how long does it need to stay in the pressure pot. So it's basically like how long does it need to stay in there, stay under pressure before it like hardens fully. And then there's full cure time. All right. So pretty much, most resins are going to be a 5 to 7 day full cure. So that's one thing. But the deep pour has like a 2 to 4 hour working time, but it really depends on how much we're talking about. It was really developed to do like buckets full, poured as a river table up to 3 inches thick. So when they say that it's like a 2 to 4 hour working time, it's going to be pretty liquidy for a long time if you're only mixing up 100 grams. All right, so it's probably going to be fairly liquid tomorrow. The alumilite clear slow, the one that we did the second time, that's a urethane resin. It's got a 12-minute working time and then a 2 to 4 hour demold time, so out of the pressure pot. So, this one that we did, the second one we did, I can pull this thing out in probably about 4 hours and it's going to be hard. It's going to be done. I can take it out of the mold. And then this one, the Amazing Clear Cast, that's like a 45-minute working time, 40 to 45, something like that. And then like an overnight in this case for something that amount of resin, we're talking like I'm going to leave it overnight and pull it the next day, like 8 to 10 hours, something like that. So just wanted to let you know, make sure you understand, those things, those factors are extremely important when choosing a resin. How long is the working time? Because if you don't have enough time to get it done, don't buy that one or don't use that one for that project. How many days does it take before I can demold it? In some cases, oh, I just got resin all over my brand new pen. I don't want that. But yeah, those are, and then like I said, the viscosity and certain things like those all factor in. If you don't have a pressure pot, then I wouldn't recommend getting a super thick resin. It's just not going to be very, good for you. So let's see here. Okay. You drew lines on them, yeah. 12-hour working time. Good Lord. How much can you pour in a mass? Is it like a bowling? Can you pour a bowling ball like alumilite clear slow? So we're going to switch back to the overhead view. Let's see. Is this hardened? Not really. This may not. That's pretty liquidy. Yeah, that's still like liquid. So I don't want to pour this on top of that with it just being flat out liquid. We'll have to fill the Happy Fun cup another time. I didn't know about that. Let's see. Is there anything I can do with this? I keep touching the... Okay, I'm done with this cup. Done with it. Keep getting sticky fingers. And I don't want sticky fingers anymore. All right, guys. I think that's about it. So I'll post the results that we get this weekend. Like I said, the alumilite clear slow and the amazing clearcast one definitely will be done. We'll have to see if I'll be able to demold the deep pour one. Now, one thing I do want to kind of show you with the deep pour, you can, something that's not being pressurized and just sitting there for a long time. You may want to use, like a lighter or a torch or something, and pop the bubbles from time to time. They're going to want to float to the surface. Oh, that just doesn't, you have to like stick the flame into it. I'm going to use my torch. Actually, you need to watch out with torching silicone molds. I forgot about that. We're going to use this one instead. The torches can really kind of diminish the life of your mold. So this little lighter is not as harsh, doesn't get as hot. Okay, I think it's good. So just be careful with it, but the lighter I think is probably the best way to go. Another way to pop bubbles on the surface is to spray a mist of denatured alcohol on it, or rubbing alcohol, either one. That'll work as well. Yeah, sometimes I just get annoyed with the resin that's in the cup that's getting me sticky, and it just needs to go away. Get out of my life, you stupid cup. So, anyway, we'll get some results this weekend. It should be pretty fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys go and try out these molds. They are really fun. And, it may take a little while to kind of get used to how you need to do the little steps and all that kind of stuff, but I got to be honest, just, if you are really, really impatient, I don't know that this is the thing for you, but I'm pretty impatient, and I had fun with that. Like, I wasn't really getting upset or anything like that. I think that it's not as finicky as some of the other things that are out there, you know what I mean? And it's fun to just like, have a blast picking colors and painting different sections of it and all that stuff. I think you'll like it. I think most people would like doing these things. So let's drop another link to dannerbuilds.com. Excuse me, .com. Here's the link, and there's a link down in the description as well. Heat gun, that's another one. Yeah, I have a heat gun, but it's way over there. Let's see here. Did I miss? Oh, what was that? Something just fell on the floor. What was it made? What the heck was that? Oh, I heard something fall on the floor. Who knows? But anyway, there's links in the description, all that kind of good stuff. And I'll probably go back and try to... I'll get the links to the syringes and put those in the description for anybody that's watching this later or wants to refer to this. I'll go get those links. Big news here, or whatever, just FYI. Next week we are not having a stream, and not the week after. All right, so we're going to be off. We're not doing streams till probably till next year, honestly. So the final week of the year, I'm going to be doing a business retreat, so I'm not going to be even at the shop. And then next week, we got family coming in town early, so I'm not going to be able to get to the shop. So, and we're not doing one on Saturday, but I will post the demolding and all that stuff. Now, next week, though, what I'm hoping, as long as I can get everything finished up, edited, and ready to go, basically, I'm thinking that we're going to do a premiere on Wednesday at the time like 3 p.m. Pacific time, when we would normally do a stream like we've been doing with the premieres, because I'm pretty much wrapped up with the next mystery box from Turner's Warehouse. Okay, so no live streams, but we are going to hopefully have, we're going to have a video next week premiering. Should be on Wednesday unless something goes crazy with, I can't get the editing finished for some reason or whatever. be looking for that. Okay, so just wanted to let everybody know. I'll probably put reminders up, and then look this weekend for the results, because I'll be posting the result pictures of these things and videos, probably shorts as well as Instagram reels, and all that kind of good stuff. So anyway, guys, with all that said, I hope you have a great evening. I need to get a drink before I do the sign off even, or else I'm going to lose my voice. Because it's so dry here. So anyway, guys, I hope you have a great evening, and thank you for the super chats. I really appreciate those. Thank you guys for all joining the fun. And what was the last thing? I had something else to mention. Another kind of thank you. Oh, if I don't talk to you guys, if we don't see each other, I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate. Hopefully you'll have a great one this year. Hopefully you'll be with friends and family and have some good food and stay warm and all that kind of good stuff during the holiday season. And yeah, and I got some good plans coming up for the next year, I think. So it should be looking pretty good. So anyway, guys, again, like I said, thanks for joining the fun tonight. Have a great evening, and I'll see you guys on the next one.